Hey, welcome back to the Future of Selling podcast, where we dive into challenges, trends, innovations, anything impacting the future of sales or the sales landscape. I'm your host, Rick Smith, and today we're jumping into a conversation that's part personal transformation and part modern marketing masterclass. My guest today is Steve Schmidt. Now, Steve is the Chief Revenue Officer and co-owner at Magnetic. Magnetic is a company that's really making some pretty serious waves in how brands turn content into cash flow. So I'm looking forward to talking about that specifically. But here's the thing, right? The conversation today isn't just about marketing. Steve's story, it's really about reinvention. It's about becoming magnetic, right? Not just in business, but also in life. He's been pretty candid about his struggles with addiction, about rebuilding his life from the inside out, and how that journey now fuels everything he does, from leading teams to helping creators and companies kind of find their voice in this extremely crowded, noisy marketplace. So, whether you're a founder and you're trying to break through the noise, right, in the marketplace, or you're a seller trying to stand out, or maybe you're just someone who's trying to reconnect with what really makes you come alive. You're going to want to lean into this conversation today. So, Steve, so glad you're here. So looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hello from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It is cold here. We're a balmy 42 degrees right now.
Oh my gosh! All right. Well, I'm in Texas. It was a little cold this morning, as a matter of fact, when I'm out walking the dog.
The
So
armadillos
we're
are tucking their tails in today.
yeah. So was I, but we all were.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah,
Anyway, well, good, man. Well, appreciate you being on. Hey, I always like to start with kind of a little bit of a fun fact, just to give people a little more personal point of view of you, if that's okay.
yeah. Let's do it.
Uh, so start there, right? So you have a podcast, right?
Mhm.
And the name of the podcast is Spotlight Sioux Falls Podcast, the intersection of commerce and culture. So that's kind of cool. I love to interview other podcasters because I'm trying to figure out, okay, how can I be even better at this, right? Um,
Yeah,
so tell us about the podcast. How'd they get started? What are you doing there?
we were traveling all over with Magnetic, going from California to Boston to Miami. And when I say we, Melissa is the CEO and she is my partner as well. So we share children and we
Okay.
share a life together. So what we learned quickly was that that's not a life that we wanted.
Yeah.
And in the services line of work, if anybody's been in that line of work, you can appreciate this. If not, kind of shedding some light there is it can be highly transactional, right? In terms of what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
And we found also that we weren't able to create these great relationships with people when we saw them once every never
Okay.
or only over Zoom, right? And I think that we learned that whether it was, when economic times got tough, they were quick to run, quick to say like, well, we got to cut the budget. We also just didn't want to travel anymore, like that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so for us, it was selfishly about like being home, being with our kids,
Okay.
and not having grandma have to, watch the kids 50% of our life, even though that was awesome.
Yeah.
But it also was like this little bit of a nudge that said, "Hey, dummy, like you've never paid attention to the place you live. As a matter of fact, you've done everything you can to like avoid even trying to sell to anybody in Sioux Falls." And I
Right.
really had to think about that. And ultimately, it was I didn't think the market was ready. It was a little bit of a nose in the air, kind of like they're not ready for this.
Yeah.
Turns out they were. And I think what's interesting is as we look at market segmentation, a lot of people aren't looking at the people right around them. I certainly
Right.
wasn't, right? I was really
Yeah.
focused on this logo over here because they meet this ICP criteria. But when you get in front of somebody and you have the commonality of the zip code where you live,
Yeah.
everything changes.
Yeah.
In a small town of 300,000 people, you're going to see them eventually at church, in the grocery store, out to
Right.
dinner. And when you do that, there's a sense of commitment that we didn't know was ahead of us. And so what happened with Spotlight Sioux Falls was we said we didn't want to travel anymore, but we didn't know what to do.
Okay.
5 days later, I woke up and I'm like, man, I always have ideas. I'm an ideas guy. 99% of them aren't great. 1% is. And I couldn't come up with anything. So I'm like, well, what do we do? Do we fold the company? Do we go
Yeah.
get jobs again? Everything was on the table. And we'd even called the investors and said, hey, we're thinking about, folding up the company. Like it's just not really working out for us. And they were like, oh, well, okay. If that's what it is, it is. And I said, but give us a couple more days.
Yeah.
And we woke up and one of the investors planted the idea in my head. He goes, well, what about Sioux Falls business? I said, they're not ready for this. He goes, how do you know that?
Right.
And all of a sudden that question kept echoing in my head. How do you know that? And it was my own assumptions that
Yeah.
were in the way of that. So we said, I woke up and I said, what if we did a podcast with just try to get 5 guests and said, we're going to spotlight businesses in Sioux Falls. There's nothing going on in this town like that
Yeah.
where people are doing that. And then, it was, well, how would it work? I said, we're going to go out to the businesses in their environment
Yep.
and go immersively into their day to day, not just the business, but we want their story. We want the business and we want to show Sioux Falls who this business is. Because when
Yeah.
you're a community of 300,000, you're big enough to have everybody not know who you are
Right.
and be small enough to remember 25 years ago, it was a who knows who business.
Yeah.
And Sioux Falls has grown by 25% in the last 5 years.
Okay.
So we have a
Wow.
lot of new businesses coming to town, a lot of new people from New York, Miami. I mean, COVID definitely flooded a lot of people. South
Yeah.
Dakota was like land of the free,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
advertising it. And people were coming here because, it's cheap, no income tax, no state income tax.
Yeah.
And they love it, And so, but a lot of those people brought their businesses with them.
Right.
And the good part about that is it immersed them in our community. Now, we had an overwhelming response. We put an ad out. Never in my life have I put an ad out on Meta. So we put a quick ad out of us in our podcast and we just cut a short out of it. And we said, hey, this should be good. Let's see if we had 63 leads in 2 days
Wow.
and we had 270 leads in 2 weeks. And so out of that, 63 episodes have been recorded since June, 63 different business owners. And quite frankly, that model, what it did is it allowed us to say, oh, they need other services. And what we did is we did shed the old customers
Hmm.
or they shed us. It was just kind of this mutual agreement that like, hey, here's what we're doing. We're still going to support you until you're ready to kick us to the curb.
Yeah.
So then the stress was on, like, how do we get this new thing up where these businesses want to do business with us? And how do we wind the old business down where it's not a disaster?
Yeah.
And so we were able to start to support customers locally. 13 or so came on board for like full support.
Yeah.
And that would be, what we do is that content to cash flow is really what came out of all of that, which is I don't know how to create content. Great. We'll show you how. I know
Yeah.
that sounds foreign to people on LinkedIn, but I'm talking all the platforms of Meta, TikTok, LinkedIn.
Right.
LinkedIn is number 4 here. Facebook is at number 1. Anytime you go to like Midwestern towns, cities, LinkedIn's an afterthought because everybody already knows each other.
Yeah.
Like to them, they're like, well, I don't need to connect with Rick. I know Rick.
Right. 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 Yeah.
And so it's not this automation and connect world. And so it's used differently here. Facebook has 84% market share as the number 1 social app.
Mhm.
Instagram's right behind that. And then there's a big landslide to LinkedIn and then TikTok and then YouTube, which is, we can talk about that all day, a distant 5th, right? And coming up though in the next 2 years to become the number 1, said the data.
Yeah.
So we said, man, none of these people have YouTube channels. None of these people have content that they're getting out. And
Yeah.
ultimately, it's taking that long form piece of content, really putting a framework to it. So we know if there's 3 things we get out of that, these are the 3 things we need.
Right.
So if we don't get it, we'll sit with them afterwards and say, hey, here's a question a lot of people have about what you do or the problem that you help solve. Let's get this soundbite. And then what happens is those have turned into great shorts organically, great shorts on YouTube, Meta, where we'll write the post, announce it on Spotlight's channel, highlight them, tag the owner, and then link to the full episode, right? That gets about 5,000 views a day on YouTube. It's about
Wow.
25,000 views across all social platforms, all from Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
And
That's incredible.
so we've created this little internet cable channel where suddenly we are, getting on our network is more powerful than doing it on your own. But there's
Yeah.
sometimes you got to say, well, now it's time for you to start your own channel.
Yeah.
So we're really serving those businesses who want to get out in front of people they haven't yet, tell a story. And then a lot of them are doing podcasts on a monthly basis now where some of them are doing reality TV shows that we're doing now. So
Yeah.
it's really like we have a construction company. We go out in the middle of a field, watch them move a 150-year-old house across 10 miles.
Yeah.
It's wild, man. And
Wow.
I would have never guessed that 6 months ago, that's what we would have been doing. But that's Spotlight Sioux Falls. It's an awesome podcast. Even if you're not from here, I think you'd appreciate it. And I think what we're doing is inspiring a lot more of these communities to start things like that.
Yeah.
because since we started that, there's 8 more here just like us suddenly that popped up overnight, you know? So
Really? Wow.
we gotta look at it like we were the leaders, but that's the job that we gladly accepted, you know?
So your podcast, so let's let me recap some of that because that's a lot of information. But by the way, and you've only been doing it for like 6 months, which is incredible.
June 2nd
Yeah.
was the first episode.
Wow. So you're using your podcast, Spotlight Sioux Falls podcast, right?
Yep.
It's really your lead generator, right?
Yeah,
So
that's right. Yep.
you're using that as a lead generator, and you're creating, and then you've got customers that are coming in, and so part of that process is they see your podcast or they hear your podcast, and they go, "Hey, I, I want to be a part of that."
Yep.
And so then you'll go out and do an interview with them as well, find out about their business, who they are, why that matters, and all that kind of
Yep.
stuff. And then so you, it's almost like you're creating this really cool little self.
Flywheel.
Yeah, exactly.
It's,
Wow.
$1,500 too. I mean, they gotta pay to be on, and so that's the
Yeah.
hurdle that a lot of people like, it's hard to communicate that, but we're like, "There is immense value in this,
Yeah.
and we're gonna give you all the assets afterwards." So you get the
Yeah.
reels, you get the shorts, and you can go cut them up with whoever on Upwork you want. If that's what you wanna do, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
But those people who see value in what we did said, "Wait, I wanna do more of this, and I wanna come up with an intelligent content strategy."
Yeah.
And I always think about it like playlists on a YouTube channel. Like, how can we fill the 5 buckets that are most interesting with your business over 12 episodes?
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And really you're kind of overcut by doing that. I like the fact that you're focused in on an area, right? And I don't know that most people think about it because just like you were saying, right before you chase a logo in the Northeast, you might chase one on the West Coast or
Yep.
Florida, wherever, and which is makes perfect sense, right? I mean,
Mhm.
that's a strategy, and a lot of companies do that. But your strategy was, hey, I wonder what's going on here, right? And because
Yeah.
then you overcome that there's things that we need to be able to trust and do business. One of those is commonality. I mean, it's just a
That's
natural
it.
human kind of trait, right? I want to know that you and I are somehow connected. We've got some because for whatever reason that makes me trust you more. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
someone lives in Waxahachie, Texas. I go, seriously, you live here? How awesome is
Yeah.
that? And all of a sudden
More
we're a little closer than we were.
like they know your belief systems,
Yeah,
a little bit more. And like you said, whether we want to admit it or not, people will judge you on that.
yeah,
And if you say, oh, for example, like this is an example that's maybe a little bold. If someone talks a lot about faith and that's important to them as an owner, well,
right,
they're going to turn off some people and they're going to turn on some people.
yeah,
And we tell them like, if you're into that, don't hold back, right?
right. Lean
Because
into it.
lean into it. Like, why are you hiding from it? Like no,
Yeah,
but they're going to find out eventually. Like, so just be yourself. And if I mean, we had an episode we shot last week called Faith in Football.
yeah.
The episode crushed the internet, right? Because people got to watch this owner of a pizza shop who's spun up a deep dish pizza place in Sioux Falls that's just blowing up.
Wow.
Show like he said, when we interviewed him, he said, the foundation episode, what are the 3 most important things to you? He said, faith, family, and football.
Yeah,
And we said, well, why don't we go into your church and then we'll
yeah,
go over to your football practice that you coach. And we got these kids, we got drone shots. They thought they were the cool. I mean, they were so cool.
yeah,
And I didn't get to do that before, man. And now I get like so energized by these 10-year-olds
yeah,
when I'm like, what's your favorite food? They're like, pizza, you
yeah.
know? And how's Coach Tony? Oh, he yells at us, but it's for the right reasons. And
Right. I like that.
people get to know them and we get immersed in the community. But man, like we're really trying to make entertaining content at the end of the
Right.
day.
Yeah,
And inevitably their business gets either more well known or they take a short that we make for them and then they turn that short into an ad.
yeah,
And now they're off to the races and they didn't know how to do ads before, right? So we kind
right.
of are the gateway drug for everything else too.
Yeah. So you guys, so it sounds like I think you said $1,500 is what you're charging for this, and
Yep.
so is that just one episode, or do they actually get a few episodes out of that,
Good
or how does that?
question. One episode, they get one long form piece of content. They get to be permanently housed on the Spotlight channel, which is a big benefit to them because
Yeah,
most of them aren't even really thinking outside the box, outside of their website
yeah,
with SEO and the power of YouTube. I mean, YouTube transcripts are the number one feeder to ChatGPT
yeah,
and AEO and where we're going with AI search. Like it's super important. And we're pretty darn good at keyword research. I mean, we just don't get vidIQ and start punching in words.
Yeah.
You really got to research like, well, what would somebody be looking for if they needed to get their deck cleaned or their cabin demudded,
Right.
but they didn't want to sandblast it? They don't know about laser cleaning. Okay. So
Yeah.
now we got to take this guy who has a laser cleaning business who bought this $100,000 laser that can
Yeah.
literally take and clean off graffiti off of a wall, and nobody knows about that.
Right.
And so we say, well, how do we let people know? Because they're not searching for how can I find somebody to get lasers to clean my wall? They say they complain about graffiti. They go to Reddit. They go to all these places. Well, if he can show up as a solution
Yeah.
to those problems with the YouTube video, we now win for him.
Yeah.
And that's graduated into, I learned how to code in July because I was bored. And now we're making landing pages so that ad can go to a landing page that converts them into more video
Yeah.
and bringing them through that funnel where now if they click, now they'll book the time with you. And so we've really built a system that's fully built around one podcast episode where we're getting all those videos
Hmm.
that are really their sales system.
Yeah.
And it's wild how it's just graduated into that really from just a podcast.
Yeah. That's incredible. Yeah. Are you doing, I mean, are they mostly just smaller local businesses, or do you have any that are, I guess, yeah, I mean, is it,
Some are
kind of
180
mom
million,
and
some are
pop?
60 million, some are 20 million, some are brand new. I mean, the thing we found is the people who are in that like 10 to 20 million really love us
Yeah.
because they have the budget, they need to grow, and they've never known how to do this.
Yeah.
There's not a single agency in Sioux Falls that does YouTube, not a one.
Right.
Well, we do, right? So once they understood that, word got out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so it's podcast, YouTube. Like, what do you want to put out for video? And then it's kind of like, well, maybe it's not a podcast. Maybe we do a reality series on you.
Right.
Maybe we have a camera crew and we just come and follow you around and kind of push you around and direct you.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the most interesting thing. And so it's really content, but it's not content where someone's just sitting and talking to someone in a podcast booth. We're really not, we're trying almost purposely not to do that. Not that that's bad. I love watching those
Yeah.
when it's interesting, which it's hard
Right.
to get local business owners to be interesting unless they're doing something interesting.
Right. Got it. Got it. Yeah. Makes sense. I think
Yeah.
that's a well, I didn't so I've never gone that deep on a fun fact before.
Yeah. That's not that
Really
fun. We should talk
cool.
about something fun.
Yeah, no, it was great, man. That was
Yeah.
great. I didn't and I guess I did yeah, when I asked you that, I didn't realize that the business was so or the podcast was so intricately connected to your business,
It
which
is the product-led growth for us,
okay.
for
Okay. Got
sure. PLG to the bone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, hey, I wanted to, I kind of wanted to start with the more personal side of things, right? Because I just think
Mhm.
that's interesting, right? Well, how do people get from, where they were to where they are today? So,
Hmm.
if you don't mind, just wanted to kind of back up a little bit on that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So, you know, what is it that makes you kind of come alive, right? I mean, what drives you? What's the passion, the purpose? However you want to rephrase that. I mean, what makes you come alive personally?
I I love building things that work, and I think
Okay.
my dad, was an engineer, and that I'm not an engineer. My
Yeah.
dad tried to be a farmer, and I'm trying to be a farmer too, but I did get the engineering part in my brain where I just, kinda the numbers start shooting out your head and the smoke starts blowing out and,
Yeah.
can see things differently and connect systems where systems need to be. And I think the superpower that's been given to me is to really come in and identify quickly how to what makes me come alive is that. And I say this, I'm a work in progress because I don't want to answer that in 10 years the same way. I want to
Yeah.
say what makes me come alive is my kids, my relationship with my wife, my the looking at an octopus and going, that's crazy. Like that stuff lights me up. But like it is a little bit of obsession, which I'm okay with right now
Right.
because there is a window of time that I know, like I don't have an Elon Musk chip in my head. I might not live forever. I'm 48. I got about 7 years that I can really be effective. at doing this while still trying to balance everything else. So, it's 16-hour days and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And that lights me up. Work does light me up and I'm okay with that. Like,
Yeah.
because it's not me going out and drugging and drinking and causing a bunch of things and chaos like I used to. And I'm very open about that with the people in recovery that, I might have a work obsession, but I'm okay with that as long as I'm not ignoring the rest of my life because I wasted a lot of years, man. I mean, 20 years of my life, 25 years. If you start over when you're 40 and then, you have a business that you sell when you're 45 and your ego's really big and then that thing loses you all your money again, like you're faced
Yeah.
with problems that most people don't want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I view it as an opportunity to get to know myself better and try to do the right thing. And that I just like the fact that I know I want to answer the question differently, but I can't
Yeah.
until I get this work done.
Yeah. No, I think that's fabulous. So for you then it is right now, it is the work then, right?
Yeah,
It
lights
is
me up, man.
it being a builder, as you said, right? Building something that out of nothing,
Yep.
um, that just makes you kind of get up and run toward the, whatever that target is for that day.
Yeah.
Um, you mentioned you kind of talked about transformation at 40. Do you mind kind of giving us a little bit of background on the kind of how you got to
Mhm.
where you're at? Clearly, you were had some addiction things going on.
Yeah.
I've
Mhm.
seen some of that in my life as well with, different family members, and that's a struggle. So talk to us about that journey from there to kind of where you're at now and maybe some lessons learned along the way.
I come from a family of drinkers, and my dad was adopted, so I really can say that by it just happens to be that my brother and I both got the gene, and
Okay.
when I say that, we both, God bless, my brother just went into rehab today. I've
Yeah.
been sober for 7.5 years now. I went to Hazelden after just some really high reluctance. I ended up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I was not happy about it. I lived in Minneapolis. Was all about the trophies and working at big companies and being a
Right.
revenue ass kicker. But I drank all day long, and I drugs in my system all day long, and
Yeah.
a lot of that was numbing out the emotion of some trauma in my life. And I don't need to go into that, but like I never dealt with that in a healthy
Yeah.
way. And so getting sober was great. I was still left with me. And the ego is slowly being removed still to this day because I think that's the biggest thing is like the fear and insecurity might look like an ego.
Yeah.
And it's really just like, what are you trying to prove to people, Steve? Like, you're
Yeah.
going to be okay no matter what. And I know that that's not what I'm doing. I'm really trying to live a life where I have the opportunity to be productive now, to help make other people's life better. But I don't want to forget about trying to make my own life better. And so for me, it is now 7.5 years sober. I had a business that, again, I thought my ego said 3 years ago or whatever, build this agency up, do three, 400 grand a month and then try and sell it. And there was a company from Israel that tried to buy us and ended up being a merger and it was a nightmare. And we had 48 employees. Half of them got let go the second day of the merger.
Yeah.
I was kind of golden handcuffed to a contract and there was more to be revealed about myself. And I learned a lot about like, you like, what was I really trying to do? Like
Yeah.
thinking that I was going to sell it, make a bunch of money and then my problems would be gone. Like it doesn't work like that. I learned. And that caused a big rift, and so Melissa and I got divorced. I mean, who I'm with today is my ex-wife and my future
Great.
wife. And there's a
Well,
lesson there too, but, like, being able to really sit there, it occurred to me because I started Magnetic after the company failed, was able to start it on month 7, but now
okay.
I'm across town sitting in the basement of a townhouse going, "How did I end up here?" You know?
Yeah.
And, I was billing 40K a month, and it was just me and a couple of consultants on the back end that were, overseas, so all the money was there.
Right.
And that lasted like the facade lasted about 10 months before I just broke down, man, and I had the second awakening, and it just tore me to pieces, man. I could only ignore it for so long, and I was just like, "I miss my family, I miss my wife."
Yeah.
And, then it was a lot more amends and about another year of earning trust back.
Yeah.
Kind of felt like recovery 2.0.
Yeah.
Um And Melissa eventually came into the business, and her and I have worked together now for almost a year and a half. And so obviously that went okay. We're back together, but it's not like when you move back in the house, everybody's like, doo, 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 this is great. There's so much when a divorce happens that is so
Yeah.
big and it
Yeah.
affects so many people. We're taking that very slowly.
Yeah.
And it only reminds me that business, you want to move fast, right? But really, the good businesses build slowly.
Okay.
And so I think I'm learning these things. I wish I learned them when I was 20.
Right.
But at age 48, I'm learning that still today, if I have my own best interests in mind, I am a failure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
What keeps you, what kind of, obviously those are some pretty traumatic events, right? Being an alcoholic and then going through, uh, sobriety, recovery, the divorce. What
mhm.
what what is it that keeps you centered today? How do you do that? Are you listening to something? Are you reading something that, that kind of, puts you in the right spot, or how do you stay there?
This is a little wild, so I'll go there. So I started really exploring, God, and was against that whole thing my whole life, man.
Right.
And for one reason or another. And I think when I prayed to get, I said, God, no matter what, and whatever happens with this, I just want to meet good people who can, who I can learn from, who are aligned to that.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like I was kind of like, what was that? Like it came out of nowhere.
Right.
And so I'm inspired and I learned from the other CEOs and founders who do business with us today. I just said it over lunch yesterday to the pastor I was sitting with. I said, it's crazy. I said this prayer. All of a sudden, every one of these customers we're meeting with are great people in the community.
Yeah.
They're involved in their churches, they're da da da. And I'm like, dang. I'm like,
Yeah.
I couldn't have designed that myself. And so I'm surrounded by them every day. I'm inspired and they're very value driven
Yeah.
on, in high amounts of integrity, high amounts of discipline,
Yeah.
but high amounts of family. Like a lot of them hold their families because a lot of them have family businesses
Okay.
very near and dear to their heart. And so I think it's really me just being like, okay, God, I give up. Like it's all in front of me now. Like I asked for it. I yelled in a cornfield to get my wife back, got her back. Geez, that was an accident. I said, surround me with good people. And now, like all of a sudden, this podcast starts. Didn't know where that came from. And all of a sudden, I'm surrounded by great people.
Yeah.
And so I'm a victim of my own good fortune, I think, really, you know?
Okay. Got it. Got it. Yeah. So sounds like there was a lesson to be learned there, at least part of it, right? I mean, part of it's just faith, right? And that's kind of what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
it feels weird to even say that. I don't ever talk about that. But yeah, it really is. It is faith. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then really kind of, I think when you ask, "Hey, I wanna be around good people,"
Mhm.
um, I mean, part of that kinda goes back to even your business model, though, right? You're operating within a smaller location, but then there's an aspect of it where it's kind of, you're developing this inner circle. So if I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, what's keeping you strong? What's keeping you in that place?" There's an
Mhm.
inner circle that you're creating and that old saying, right? You're gonna, 5 years, you'll be like the 5 people you spend the most time with, but there's some
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, there's definitely some truth in that. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
way different people than I would have ever hung out with
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
old self, it's like, sitting and listening to a 65-year-old guy talk about things in his business that,
Yeah.
the rocks of his business. I would have been like, "Oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about?"
Yeah.
And
Got
now
it.
I just sit there and take notes and like this guy, if I had to look back 100 years, like I'd love that small community. We all grew up in small communities before the world got big.
Yeah.
And you're really accountable to your neighbor, right? And
Yeah.
so if we're building this city with integrity and I can hang and rub elbows with those people and help them build it, I
Right.
become better. And I couldn't ask for anything better because that's the lesson I needed, right? Was like not like it's not about me, man. No
Right.
one's saying Steve's great. And
Yeah.
that's all I wanted to hear my whole life was like, Steve's so smart. Steve knows
Yeah.
how to do everything. Steve
Yeah.
doesn't know that much. Like Steve does know certain things that can help their business, and that's an honor because what they give me back and the experiences I get from working with them are tenfold what the revenue would be in terms of value to my life,
Right.
for sure.
Gotcha. Gotcha. How do you just I got another question, but I want to dig into that one just a little bit.
Mhm.
How do you think you overcame your ego? Because man, that's a mountain to climb. There's a great book you may have read. It's called Ego is the Enemy.
Yeah,
Um, anyway, it's kind
great
of
book.
yeah, Stoic philosophy, and I love the author. I read a bunch of his stuff. But
Yeah.
how did you, because you're where you're at and you've got the business that you have and you're doing the things you're doing, right, with purpose and intention and faith and fulfillment. But it sounds like in order to make that step, you had to kind of compartmentalize the ego and be able to step over it and get away from it. How do you make that transition?
Well, unfortunately, the lessons have been taught to me.
Yeah,
And I think that's the thing is it's just, it's so easy to have an ego when you're good at something.
yeah.
And when you realize that nobody cares that you're good at it, then you realize how silly your ego is. And I think I
Yeah,
just kind of felt stupid.
yeah,
Like, why do I care so much? Like, they really just either want to hang out with you or they want you to do something for them.
yeah,
I'll take either one. Like, I'm not, no judgment, but inevitably, when they judge me by who I am as a person versus what I can do for them for work, I realize the value is not in that. That's a job, you know? They
yeah,
hire you, you do it, like, there's an off button there, and
yeah,
eventually you won't do that, but you can be someone who knows them for the rest of their life and has a relationship, and so I think when I did that, naturally, the ego has to be removed to
yeah,
have good relationships,
yeah.
and I have never in my life been a relationship person, and I mean that like, I
Really?
say that with no
That's
shame, like, I
that
was just like,
surprises
"Don't
me.
care."
Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking to you, and I'm looking at you, and I'm going, "Man, that blows me away. That surprises me."
Well, I think it was the trauma and the hurt, like, I didn't wanna get to know anybody, I didn't wanna trust anybody, and I was just like,
Yeah,
"Nope, nope, thank you, not interested." Never had a girlfriend that I was serious about. I'm just like, "Nope, it's about
yeah,
me," because I wanted to take care of me. Well, that didn't work out so well, you know?
right.
And
Yeah,
so I think it was learning the hard way that, life is very little about the things that I'm doing.
yeah,
It is more about the people I'm affecting, and I can only do that if I'm showing up vulnerable
yeah,
and honest and with a high amount of integrity.
yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. You mentioned just now, and I wanted to transition there anyway, that it's all about the people that you're helping, right?
Mhm.
So, do you mind? Would you mind kind of give us an example? And you kind of talked about it a little bit, but maybe what's a great example of the last 30 days or 60 days of a client you worked with that, like, I mean, a big success story, right? And
Yeah.
what you're doing. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
mind?
So I'll use an example of a donut shop just because that'll most people go, "A donut shop?"
Love that. Yeah.
Well, this guy does $5.8 million in donuts in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and he has 6 stores. He went to college. He was 2 years younger than me.
Yeah.
We grew up in the same small little towns of 40 people in northern South Dakota, so we all know everybody's last name and your uncle and my uncle.
Yeah.
And he came in as a lead off Facebook, and it was Ben Duenwald, owner of Flyboy, and I'm like, "Ooh, that's cool. That's kind of an iconic brand." Well, he said, "Well, I wanna tell people my story. Nobody knows who I am." And I was like, "You're right. I have no idea who you are. I just those Flyboy donuts are great. We go there once in a while, and I try not to eat too many of them. My kids think it's amazing."
Yeah.
And then he told me a story, and I just felt floored, like,
Right.
there's so much to this. And I was like, "People have gotta hear your story, man." I'm like, "I'm obsessed with this."
Yeah.
And so we've been able to peel that onion back, and whether that's he's installed a flight simulator in his donut shops because he wants to teach people how to fly.
Wow.
Because that was his childhood dream, right? But it wasn't necessarily his dream, it was his dad's dream, and so he was kinda given this guilt of fulfilling something his dad couldn't do and realized eventually, like, "Wait, I just like this for me. It doesn't matter if
Yeah.
my dad couldn't do it or this or that." He's like, "I really just love making people happy,
Yeah.
and I love teaching people how to do things they didn't know that they could do."
Yeah.
And being able to go and be on planes with him, to be able to go around and deliver hot donuts and watch how they make them at 2:30 in the morning
Right.
and see exactly the intricacy of that and then film it and really be in the belly of it
Yeah.
is now giving that story to the same people who are gonna buy his donuts. Like, we did a bunch of cool stuff in the back end. We configured his domains, like, did DMARC, just, like, things to his email address, like, his newsletters doubled in rate,
Yeah.
but the story is so much better than another donut deal, right? it's kind of like there's donut deals, but there's also like now once a month that those 50,000 people on his newsletter and everybody on social gets the latest episode of Learning to Fly, like the Flyboy story.
Yeah.
And so like being able to be the person who's in charge of that is a lot of weight because everybody knows them, right?
Yeah.
And I don't go around and say, hey, we're doing this stuff, but you hear lots of people be like, that's really cool. Did you see that guy? And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'll be at the sauna at the gym. There's guys listening to Spotlight Sioux Falls on their iPhone. I look over, I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah.
It's really starting to be the thing that people depend on
Mm.
as their preferred method of like learning about people in Sioux Falls. And so like it's an honor, a privilege, and his brand's blowing up. And yeah, I just think that how cool is that? We're doing it all with story. That's it.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible. One, it's a great story. Right? It's a great success story that you're having, but it's also incredible because you look at where we're at today in the world, and I wrote something down. I wish I could find it on my whiteboard the other day. But basically, it has to do with how many people we're connected to, but how many people we know. And other people
Yeah.
that kind of stuff too, right? But you're kind of, I don't know if you're bucking the trend or if you're creating a trend, but you've decided you've decided to keep it local, right? Keep
Yeah.
it by. And
Yeah,
so
man.
so if the question is, how do you break through the noise? Because there's, 'cause I
Mhm.
post on LinkedIn, I do some videos, I do some mastermind class. Yeah, I do stuff like that, right? As well as a podcast. And so there's this question of like on LinkedIn right now, it's like I started posting out there like 18 months ago or something like that. And
Okay.
either I don't know if it's my perception or if it's just true, but
Mhm.
it's such a 18 months ago, it didn't seem as crowded out there.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
now it's like this really crowded room. I feel like
Mhm.
it is anyway. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's accurate. I've not looked at the numbers, but
Yeah.
you're taking a different approach. I mean, it's like, no, let's keep it local, man. We got plenty here.
Well, even
And
I don't even know if local, I would say, stop talking about yourself is the number
yeah,
one piece of advice because everybody's done that for years
yeah,
and that used to work and everybody got really sick of that.
yeah,
Now they really want to hear like about like most people will now be attracted to your brand because you have a customer on a video talking about their business, right? And they might talk about how you help them, but everything goes through trends and everything kind of works for a while till it doesn't. Like that worked really well. I
right.
posted and got 44,000 followers and had, 10, 20,000 likes every day on LinkedIn, talking about how much I knew, right? All the
Yeah,
things I could teach people.
yeah.
And that stopped working. And when it stopped working, I was stumped and depressed, all sorts of things.
Okay.
And so now, yeah, I don't know if I post on LinkedIn about myself more than once a month, right? I mean, I'm probably the most boring follow on LinkedIn. And that's okay with me because people are talking about the thing we're producing incessantly
Yeah,
and they don't need to know my name, right? They just need to be able to find it and go to it. And then I don't ever need to have my name mentioned. And it's just like, that's new for me.
yeah,
And we've never been busier. And, it's kind of reinventing the idea that like LinkedIn posts used to work till they didn't.
yeah,
And they still work, but they work differently where, you know, you can do targeted posts and pay money. I encourage people to do that actually. Like if you really want to get in front of your audience, boost your post.
yeah.
Use your ICP, do all the filters and get it just to those people.
Right.
Then that's how you do it. If you really want to break through the noise, like LinkedIn's not keeping a secret, like, hey, free time's over. There's no free lunch anymore. Now you got to pay.
Yeah.
And the same thing on Facebook, Instagram, any platform has the post boost. Like the days of organic working are long, long gone.
Okay.
I'm here to tell you, we study it all day. And anybody who's going to break through the noise, it's going to be a very brief amount of time.
Yeah.
And then you will be filtered down by the algorithm.
Yeah.
Ask anybody who's done this, whether
Yeah.
it's Chris Walker or, go down the list of other companies. Like you're not getting business off posts anymore.
Yeah.
You might get the occasional post. We got all of our business doing 300K a month off of LinkedIn DMs.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be possible to get 10K today.
Right. It
Um,
would probably not because it's so, I mean, I get stuff constantly,
yep.
direct messages, and it's just like, yeah, you get because you just get overwhelmed by it. And so many, it's not, I don't even want to read it. So,
Well, you
um,
have other social platforms. I will remind people the same people you're trying to get in front of on LinkedIn are on Facebook or on Instagram
yeah,
or on TikTok talking about stuff they care about, like really care about, like as people.
Yeah.
or they're talking about their business, but they're there too, and so I've seen most of the people on like the LinkedIn crowd ignore those channels altogether
Right.
and like just go be their friend.
Yeah.
Like hang out for a while, like get to know them. And then,
Yeah.
over time, you'll get enough of those people where when we do automation now in the back end, like we do LinkedIn, it still works. We
Yeah.
do email, it still works, but not like it used to. Not
Okay.
even close to how it used to.
Got it.
What does work is posting shorts to Facebook and to TikTok and to Instagram, targeting the same people you're trying to get to on LinkedIn. And you can do that easily with like a clay data waterfall and you just get their social handles.
Okay.
And now whenever Rick Smith is on Instagram or whatever his major platform is, he'll see my video over there. I don't have to worry about LinkedIn's algorithm.
Yeah.
I
Got it.
can just say like, I need to really diversify. That'd be my advice to everybody is diversify and realize that most people don't go home dreaming about LinkedIn at night.
Yeah.
They get on Facebook, they get on Instagram, they want to laugh, they want to
Yeah.
see something. I mean, I look at nothing but Komodo dragons killing pigs. Like it's somehow
I
that
love
is my
it.
whole that's what my feed is, and like National Geographic animals just like slaying each other.
Yeah.
And then occasionally I get an ad, and I'm like, oh God, like, oh, it's the worst, I'm just like, and so that's how most people think. Like they don't want to hear about how awesome you are,
Yeah.
but you can still get to know them by posting something interesting on that platform. And then they're like, oh, Rick Smith, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Who's this guy?
Yeah.
He made it into the feed where I'm actually caring about what's coming up.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to do. I will tell you, it's not hard to get in someone's feed. You just got to be really good at, all the technical components to video, which is like, whether it's metadata on a website or metadata on a YouTube post or actually writing the right description. That's not just some AI thing that gave you like here's the keywords. Like, nope.
Yeah.
Then you'll be successful, or you pay to do it. But it is not a free lunch for anybody anymore. And I'm just saying, like, I, our customers succeed off of targeted ads from shorts.
Yeah.
And that could be a link to a score app quiz. That's a big one. And tell people, like, ask people if you want to get someone's information and know if they might be a good product, let them score themselves. Like, and people love to go out and say, like, how effective am I? Are my hormones balanced? Like, when
Right.
will I die? Like,
Yeah.
let them take the quiz and then look at the quiz results and say, are they a good fit for me? Now, should I go out and sequence them?
Yeah.
And now I have relevant information. I know they're interested in the space at least. And we've done that with a lot of clients where we're integrating those ads into things that are an offer. Like they get that PDF that says, here's your
Yeah.
score, here's what we recommend, but you get their information
Right.
and they don't want to book a meeting with you anyway. Trust me. Like they're doing, but then you sequence them on the back end with an email and you connect with them on LinkedIn. And now you're playing with danger.
Yeah. Now you kind of got a multi-touch
That's
approach.
right. Across all channels,
Yeah.
you've
Are
given them something of value, which is the number one rule. Give them something of value
Yeah.
first. Don't ask for something.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you just taking a note here. Are you doing work like if somebody listens to this, like this has been a really intriguing conversation for me. I think people that will listen to this will as well. But yeah, in the last 10 minutes, I mean, you just, you kind of dug deep into, hey, how to break through the noise,
Yeah.
right? One of the questions I had, are you only working with people in Sioux Falls? I mean, if somebody wanted
Nope.
to contact you and say, hey, man, I love what you were talking about. Can you help me? Can
Yeah.
they, are you good with that? Are you open to that?
Yeah. Yeah. We're just going to be starting. I mean, there's a new something coming up here. And so it's going to be Sioux Falls will probably always be the focus, but we have a client who is in Indianapolis. We have one in Louisiana. Our only requirement is we won't travel more than once a quarter
Yeah.
and we won't do remote video. So we have to get in front of you and shoot with a camera crew.
Okay.
And there's expense to that some people aren't willing to pay or, they don't want to pay for this. And I'm like, cool, then we're good.
Yeah.
But we absolutely would love to work with probably, a handful, 5 or 10, like really sincere people who want to have
Yeah.
someone who frameworks out everything, shows up with the production crew and goes, all right, man, Rick, I need you for 2 hours today, but here's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We've got everything in our mind already. And when we go back, we're editing videos for 10 days and we go, hey, Rick. And these guys literally last night, they're a bunch of surgeons from Indiana. We're like, we're blown away
Yeah.
because they hated the filming session because we
Right.
did some really cool long form. But now I'm like, here's the ads we wrote for you. And so saying things in a natural way and a not so natural way is really hard for people.
Yeah.
And when we were filming, the guy even said, Dr. Park said, like, I would never say this. And we're like, exactly.
Yeah,
Because you did say this actually when we interviewed you, but now you're thinking about, now I got to impress people.
yeah,
And he said, these are so great. Like these
yeah,
are, it has the hook. It delivers on the promise. It's 22 seconds long.
yeah. And it's now,
And they couldn't have done that before. And so we'd love to do that for more people.
yeah,
And, but it won't be likely our model, like
yeah,
to be just Sioux Falls or just there. We will just naturally focus on here,
yeah,
which changes all your SEO plan. And so trust me, if you're trying to launch into a local market and you still want to do some national, like good luck,
yeah,
because Google wants you to make up your mind
right.
and it really wants you to know like who are your targets. Like,
Yeah,
so it can put in like Sioux Falls businesses, for example. Like if you say that, that's way different than businesses.
right.
And
Which
so even picking out particular communities, like we've looked at, like if we said Sioux Falls, Indianapolis, and Burbank, California,
okay.
now you're going to show up in those communities. But if you just say everywhere, like now you're fighting with Gong for,
Yeah,
paying $190 for a lead on Google. And
right,
so it's really hard to break through that noise. And so I would just say, like people say niche down. Yes, and niche down in everything you do and how you talk about the people you serve, as specific as humanly possible.
yeah. So if I said, because I always end up kind of with some key takeaways, right? So if we're talking, if somebody's listening, right, they're wanting to break through the noise. You've given us probably 10 things. Now, what are like the top three? If you said, hey, here's three things to go do or start doing right away, this, that, and the other. What would they? I'm trying to break through the noise. What
Get a
would they?
YouTube channel for sure.
Okay,
Invest a lot of time into it. Don't outsource it to somebody unless you just, I mean, if they're good, yes. And if you don't have time, but that thing should be your number one content. That is your content CSM, content system management.
okay,
Now you go in there and you got to pick 5 topics that people care about, right? That you're solving a problem for. And don't forget about your frequently asked questions playlist, right? Playlists are everything. Like get people on a 30 video playlist
yeah,
and they get hooked in on one, man, they're yours. And so like we focus a lot on YouTube, creating good playlists that have content that aligns with the topic. And
yeah,
so picking those 5 themes shouldn't be hard. I mean, you can use ChatGPT to really distill that down. Just go to your competitors who are good at it and look at them and say, like, what are they doing?
right,
Because if they're successful, like they probably have it figured out. And
right,
what you put into that can be your own, but the topic that people care about is often not what you would think. Like for us, we could put Sioux Falls restaurants and food, right? That's a playlist. Sioux
yeah.
Falls healthcare, because we've done 10 or so episodes on every one of those people. So now we have playlists in those verticals.
So playlist by vertical, by topic.
Topic, vertical, whatever it is, like get that figured out. And that is now, you can take everything from there and put it into, and my second point would be now look at taking that long form, cutting it up and really now distributing it as ads. And I mean that like wholeheartedly, like spend $10 a day, whatever it is, target the people and study, especially in Meta, their personal interests and behaviors. I mean, we have a chain of 112 different personal interests and behaviors before we nailed something for someone who was treating diabetic wound care.
Right,
What? Like, you can't type in diabetes, you can't type in wound care, but you have to find the people who are probably a family member of someone whose foot's about ready to fall off.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
we nailed it.
yeah,
And that came out of a long form piece of content that was housed on YouTube. So again, $10 a day, $300 a month. You don't have that, then don't play.
right,
And
gotcha,
then target really well and adjust your targeting. The last thing would be find a conversion system. Again, going back to LinkedIn, well, posts don't work. Well, an ad works because you can target them. It doesn't have to feel like an ad. Ads, I don't even want to call it an ad. Paid post. Paid post. You
right,
can target it and you can have a little button that says learn more.
yeah,
That button matters because it sends them immediately to either a lead form or a landing page that, now that is, and be very offer centric.
yeah,
Don't lead them to your website where they go, what the heck is this? Like,
yeah.
I don't
Where
even
they're
know where to
like
go. Like,
neighborhood, like I don't know what to
oh,
do
here's
here.
our services. Oh, great. Like
Yeah,
make it more about the problem you were talking about and more video, like video
right,
behind the video, right? And give them a chance to see you in 3 or 4 different ways on the same topic. That again is all
right,
done by agreeing to yourself that the market wants this topic talked about.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to get it on YouTube for evergreen and SEO and AEO. And then I'm going to put it on paid social to convert leads and start to
Yeah.
fill my funnel.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid of Score App. They're a great partner of ours. And Score App is a very simple product that you can create these, quizzes that have a score. And on the back end, though, is a really, really cool lead engine system that you can segment and automate, right as soon as they take it. And because it's giving them value.
Yeah.
And so we used to talk about giving value in the post, like, yes. And now we have to give them value again and
Yeah.
again. And if people say, "Well, that sounds like a lot of work," I'm like, well, that's why it's not working because you're not doing all those other things.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Man, fantastic conversation today. Thank you so much, seriously, for the time today and
Thank
just
you,
for
Rick.
putting up. And I love what you're doing in Sioux Falls, and love the discussion around kind of where you've been and where you're at now, and then just the deep dive on what you're doing with clients and how your business works is incredible. So
Yeah. Thanks, Rick. It's fun, man. It's fun. It keeps the
yeah.
brain busy and keeps me out of trouble, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Gotcha, gotcha. Well, again, thanks for being with us today. I think this is going to be a really popular episode, and I'd love to stay connected with you. I know we're on LinkedIn now,
Yes,
and
sir.
but yeah, I'd
You can
love to
count on it.
keep the conversation going. So thank
Thanks,
you.
Rick. I appreciate having me on.
All right, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.